Hello guys, welcome back to the Try Time podcast, and we're here with episode 20, which is Championship Preview, Part 1. I'm Callum.
And I'm Matt.
And first of all, before we do get into the first part of our Championship Preview for the 2021 season, just want to say, if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed and all that stuff. If you're listening to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever podcast platform you use, make sure you're subscribing on there, following Apple Podcasts, leave a review, leave a rating if you can. Really helps us grow the
Unless it's
podcast
shit.
and that sort of thing.
Don't bother if
Unless
it's
you don't
shit.
like it. Yeah, if you like I always say, if you're not going to give it a 4 or above, don't bother. But you know what I mean. It's only a joke. So I reckon we get straight into it. But just first, Super League preview. If you're a Super League fan, we did 3 parts of a Super League preview the last 3 weeks on the podcast. So go back and check them out if you haven't already. Today we're going to be speaking about the Championship signings. However, going through each team, who they've signed, who they've sold, and seeing how each team's going to sort of shape up going into the 2021 season.
This is a 2-part preview, so you get 2 weeks of me embarrassing myself as well, which is always quality content, especially if you're a Hull FC fan.
Yeah, so Matt is not exactly the one that's clued in on the Championship. I guess I've got that pressure of being more of a Championship fan than
Yes,
Matt. So
Callum's done all the prep for this, so if any of the signings are wrong, please direct your hate his way. I literally just sit here and chat out my ass about them all.
yeah, so in terms of the actual signings and that sort of thing, there may be some that aren't on here, there may be some that we don't mention, that sort of thing. You don't understand how hard it is to get every single transfer. Obviously, I know a lot of them myself. Obviously, you've had to do research for all the little ones. The ones that you're going to see on screen, they're not going to be every single one we maybe speak about, not going to be everyone that's happened. Kind of fitting in the notable ones, the sort of significant ones.
Just by notable, here's a little quote from pre-recording. I know they've signed this guy, but he's not even got a Wikipedia page, so he's clearly not that much, so I can't be arsed with him. There you go.
Right,
if you're wondering why he's not there, put a Wikipedia page for him, and then he might make the cut next year. Sorted.
Yeah, so let's get straight into it, I reckon, because we've got 14 teams to get through. It's a stacked championship this year, so let's get into it. So first up, Batley Bulldogs. So I'll go through who they've signed. So some big signings, actually, I would say, for Batley. Jody Broughton, brought in from Halifax.
Oh, I know
Kieran Kieran Buchanan, a young lad from Hull FC. I've seen him play. We were on dual red a couple of games for Bulls last year. Tom Gilmore from Halifax as well. Had a good stint with Widnes in Super League as well.
Yeah, remember
Jack Logan, Doncaster. Obviously used to play for Hull FC, so some experience, but young as well. Good. And also Ben Kay, who sort of played for Halifax for a lot of his career. Didn't play last year, so he's coming in as a free agent. So all together, some good signings for Batley.
Why did I think Ben Kay was Liam Kay for like more than a good few seconds more than I should have done then?
That just shows your knowledge, mate. Anyway, so players out. You've got Sean Lunn, who didn't really get a chance to play for Batley last year, but he's gone to Barrow. Dave Scott, who's sort of an experienced Batley player who's played there a while, he's gone to Coventry. Sean Pick, similar sort of thing, gone to Oldham. Joe Tyrer, big forward, has gone to Rochdale. Keenan Tomlinson, outside back, has gone to Dewsbury. So outgoings, I don't think they're as big as the incoming, so overall, I look at it as a positive. You know, Jody Broughton, Gilmore, Logan, that sort of thing. Definitely going to add some good bit of speed, bit of depth in there as well. So yeah, I know you obviously do know a lot of these
I've heard of some of these players. Again, really got my Tyrers confused for a second, and I'm sure Steve plays for Halifax. But there we go, again, different bloke.
He might be getting mentioned later.
Might he? Okay, there we go, spoilers already.
But yeah, we don't want to talk about each team too long, so overall I think Batley, good business, and obviously this is all going to translate.
They've signed some players I know, so there we go. I might give him a bonus point for that. Judy Broughton scores tries, there we go. That's my analysis of this. Let's move on before I chat something else about someone I don't know.
So yeah, good work from Batley. So second team, we're going to go on to my team, the Bradford Bulls. I'm going to try and be.
You had to mention that we yours, didn't you? There.
No, I was saying it's my team, so you know I probably have a bit more knowledge on the signings, the outgoings, that sort of thing.
Go on then.
So.
Oh well, help you out here. They've signed Danny Brough. There we go.
Yeah.
There's some knowledge for you.
There you go. Danny Brough from Wakefield's come in. Aaron Murphy from Huddersfield's come in. They're the two sort of big signings. You've got Dan Fleming from Halifax, experienced prop, played for Bradford before. Great championship level prop, really. Reece Hamlet, young lad from Wyre. Looking forward to him sort of getting stuck in.
It might be his year.
Never know, it might be. It'd be good if he wins something when he leaves Warrington, won't it? And Brad England, who again sort of experienced around Championship League One level from Doncaster. Solid signings there. In terms of players out, they've lost Liam Kirk, who's sort of a big academy product, came through. Kind of, I think he was sort of. I don't think he wasn't good enough anymore because obviously he signed with Oldham, who are still a strong Championship team. But I think it was just time for him maybe to move on, that sort of thing. Fair enough. Greg Johnson, who's been released. And
is that the sex offender guy?
Yeah, we're not going into that though.
Okay.
Next up, who's left is Connor Fowle, who's retired through injury. Really sad times because when he's played for Fairview and when he played for Bradford, really strong player, sort of top quality Championship player. So it is sad that he's had to retire through injury. Then Sam Barlow released. Again, never really got to play for Bradford last year. And Evan Hodgson, another product of the academy, has gone to Newcastle. So overall, as a Bradford fan, I'm happy with this because it's, Danny Brough, Aaron Murphy, Fleming, etc.
So I assume Murphy's going to be replacing the tryout of Nancy Johnson.
Actually, Murphy, looking at the kit numbers, Murphy's going to be playing in second row.
Well, you say this, but he literally played on the wing with like number 12 and second row with number 2 at Huddersfield, so who the hell knows what he's going to play. I think he just makes up his number on his spot.
But I definitely think second row is a sort of position where we need the depth. We will need him more than on the wing, I think.
I think you'd have been better signing Anthony England as well, rather than Brad.
Well, we've already got Anthony England, so why would we sign him?
Then could have him twice, why not? If you literally only signed him because it's his brother or whatever.
I don't know. Good players again though, like some experienced players in Murphy and Brough and sort of Fleming, Hamlet and England, more sort of looking a bit more to the future maybe. Exciting players. Overall, I'm thinking it's a thumbs up. Hopefully we can get some more players in as well before the season actually gets going. But overall, I mean, it's not the best business out of all Championship as we'll come to, but I'm happy with it.
I feel like it's not the business of a squad that's seriously gunning for promotion this year.
Well, we'll see.
Not compared to a few others in the league, but yeah, it's solid. It'll keep you in the conversation, even if you might have to do a Leeds Classic and win it from fifth.
That's the thing. All you got to do is get to playoffs, and then it's all down to playoffs. And by the time
Look
you
at
get to
Featherstone.
playoffs,
They literally scraped in and just get all the way to £1 million game against Toronto and did a really good performance in that one.
Yeah, exactly. And
FYI, Featherstone, we don't hate you. Stop spreading rumours around your Facebook group just because you're sponsored by big fellas. Not my fault that it literally sounds like Castleford's gay scene. Doesn't mean I disrespect you as a club. Can we stop the hate, please? You're not Hull FC.
Right, so we'll move on now to Dewsbury, which is the next team. Again, not much sort of. I don't think Dewsbury have really done much.
They've got the stadium back.
In terms of incomings, they've got Keenan Tomlinson from Batley, we mentioned up on the Batley vid. Good, solid, youngish sort of player. Reece Butterworth from Huddersfield, this is a really big signing.
Well, you did say that they should get rid of him, so there you go. For all the hate you got that one right.
Last year I did, because I think he needs more rugby. I almost think he is good enough to be top level Championship. I would take him back at Bradford. But
I mean,
it's not worked out
if you've
like
not seen that video of who we think all the Super League sides should have got rid of for this year, link in the card to it. It's still very relevant and he's close to 1,000 views, so please push us over.
Yeah, that can't be a
Cheeky
shameless
there.
plug.
Exactly.
So, two sort of solid incomings in terms of players out. There's not really any significant outgoings that we can really go over. Overall, Dewsbury, I think, have always sort of seemed to have like a settled squad. And I guess last year they didn't get to play many games, but when they had a solid squad going into last year, so...
At the risk of this video ending up 45 minutes, they've basically done nothing much of note other than kicked you out of the stadium, so let's move on.
Featherstone Rovers.
Our new favourite club.
Everyone's favourite club, so we'll get straight into their incomings. So you've got Famanu Brown from Canterbury, good sort of utility player, half-back, hooker. You never know how these players are going to come over and perform, but good signing on the surface. Junior Morse from Castleford, Joe Summers also from Castleford, young player. Craig Kopchak from Wakey, and Harvey Spence, young player from Leeds. A bit of experience, a bit of youth. Can't really knock signings. In terms of outgoings, again, not really lost much. Louis Dufresne's gone to Avignon, so he's obviously gone into the French leagues. Connor Carey and Alex Alex Asino have gone back to Australia, so they've lost them. But no, there was solid players who was always starting for them, but I almost feel like they've replaced them well. So yeah, in terms of the players that
I feel like we should just first of all touch on the tradition and history of Featherstone Rovers, as they have the most traditional shirt in the Championship. There we go. You've got the most traditional shirt in the Championship. Are you happy now that it's a video later than you wanted?
I'm not getting involved in any of this sort of Featherstone.
Yeah, only because Featherstone and Bradford already hate each other pretty much, and you've already annoyed them enough over the recent months, so...
Yeah, that's true. But in terms of the actual signings...
they're pretty good signings. This is the sort of business that I think is a bit more positive than what Bradford did, for example.
Maybe. I think there's definitely two teams I can think of that will come to that have done much better business than both Fev and Bradford.
So can I.
The Fev side's definitely got stronger.
There's one team I'm very worried for, because I've heard a lot of players leaving and not many joining as well.
I think I know which team that's going to be, which we will get to soon. But in terms of Fev, good business, solid business. They're going to be another force to be reckoned with in Championship this season.
Who's next?
Halifax Panthers, newly rebranded. They've done some good business, both in and out. Bit of a switch up. I can't really knock signings they've made. Look good. So in terms of players in, Greg Worthington from Toronto, or however you want to put that now.
Gadwin Springer, he left London, didn't he?
Gadwin Springer, also from Toronto. Connor Robinson from York, I think that's a big signing. Dan Murray from Hull KR, and then Liam Harris from Hull FC. Some good signings in there. Players out, Jody Broughton's gone to Batley, as we spoke about before. Dan Fleming's gone to Bradford, we spoke about before. Tom Gilmore's gone to Batley, we spoke about that. Scott Morrell has gone to Keighley, finally left Halifax, gone down to League One.
God, I'm going to say, I feel like he's been there forever.
Yeah, going to be a big loss for him though, that leadership and that sort of thing. And Keegan Hurst has retired, which is obviously a big loss in that front row. So, in terms of the signings, I think the two guys from Toronto, great signings. Connor Robinson as well. All good signings, really. All five of them, good, solid signings. Outgoings are also strong players, though. They've almost replaced the outgoings with incomings, pretty much. You've got Worthington, who's an outside back, coming in for Broughton, who's an outside back. You've got Springer, big prop forward, coming in. Hurst has gone out.
I feel like that's an upgrade.
Morrell, definitely will, especially age-wise and that sort of thing. You know, Robinson coming in and replacing sort of Morrell if you want, Harris, Gilmore, that sort of thing. Murray in for Fleming. It is very much like for Halifax.
Yeah.
So
I think it's strong. I think it'll push them closer to that 6 mark. I don't necessarily think they'll break it, but I think they'll be nearer.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's good business. I'm actually weirdly excited to watch Halifax play with this new rebrand, some new players in. Bit of an exciting times if you're an Halifax fan as well.
Some new kits. You mentioned theirs in the home ship video. Will their very wacky away kit make an appearance? Find out on Wednesday, Saturday. This is out on Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't edit these. It's fine. I just turn up and chat crap for half an hour.
Yeah, so if you haven't checked it out already, the reviewing of the Championship home kits was last Saturday, and the away kits is going to be this Saturday. So if you're on
subscribe if you ignored him earlier, that way you don't miss it, and tap the bell to get them in your sub box or something. What is it? I think that's what they all normally say.
To get in notifications when we.
That's the one.
That's what it is. So we'll move on to the team that I actually think you was on about earlier when you said a lot have gone out. Maybe not though, but London Broncos.
No, it wasn't London, but let's crack on with it.
Really? We'll crack on. So in terms of incomings, they've brought in Abbas Miski, who you probably remember more from the World Cup played for Lebanon.
Okay,
you might not. You might do. People will.
Definitely don't.
From Manly, they've got Jared Sammer, obviously from Lee, everyone knows him. Navarrete from Wigan and Titus Gwaze from Wakefield, so some solid signings. In terms of outgoings, they've lost a lot of big players here. I'd say all 5 of these players were vital sort of starters, I guess you'd say, for London in the last season or two. Rob Butler, who's gone to Warrington. Kieran Dixon, who's gone to York. Morgan Smith, who's gone to York. Eddie Batty, who's gone to Wakefield. And Elwar Pelissier has gone to Toulouse. So I think they've lost a lot of players there. Replaced him well. For example, a lot of people would say, Jared Sammer in for Morgan Smith's a big upgrade.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But, Eddie Batty, Butler, Dixon, Pelissier. I don't know if they've replaced them players.
I think they can replace Pelissier.
Yeah, but have they already?
Well, I don't know. I'd have no idea who's in their academy. I don't even pretend to. I don't know who they've even given number 9 shirt to.
So you mean sort of they could replace that within the squad they've got? Right?
I think.
I
think Pelissier is not really the same player that we saw in his last few years at Catalan. I feel like that's a bit more easily dealable with.
Yeah, potentially. I definitely see that. But in terms of like Batty, you know how important he is, and Dixon, you know he's been there a good few years now.
Yeah, just don't remind him. At least the good thing is, at least London don't play at Wembley. I'm sure that gives him nightmares still to this day.
But yeah, in terms of London, I think it's sort of thinning the team down a bit. But like Samet coming in as well, you know he can win you a game on his own. So not all negative, I don't think, for London. So we'll now move on to the newly, I guess, promoted team into the Championship, and that's Newcastle Thunder.
Oh, God, save the energy. I know nothing about this club's players.
I reckon you probably know every single one of these players.
Right, okay. I'm going to tell
because they have signed, and there's ones that there's players you won't even see on the screen, right? I'll go through the ones that you guys are seeing on the screen. Then I'll go into some more they've made, which just there was that many. And first of all, I'm just going to say there's no real significant outgoings. Obviously, last year was a League One squad. We have a really strong League One squad. They've kept a lot of that core as well and added all this. So in terms of one you might not know, Evan Hodgson from Bradford, but again, personally know that he's a solid squad player and he'll be good for Newcastle. Akuma Tai from Huddersfield.
Yep, obviously.
Both Chapelau brothers from Widnes, so Ted and Jay Chapelau.
Do they literally move in tandem?
They must do. Callum Turner from Castleford, Jake Shorrocks from Wigan, Jack Johnson from Warrington. So they're sort of the main ones I pulled, but there's so many more that there is sort of knocking about. I mean, you've got...
This is a team that's going to survive. I can tell you that already.
Yeah. They've got like Sam Wilder as well from Widnes, who's an experienced player. Sammy Kabula from Warrington. Josh Woods from Wigan. You know, they've got, as you can see from the ones I've gone over, they have got depth and they've brought in a lot of that. It's almost like that sort of very much sort of Super League academy products that maybe haven't worked out amazingly, but should definitely work out in Championship.
So that means Jordan Lilly will join them next year
then. The players have got a lot to prove, basically, is what I'm saying. So
what if it's the bit?
I'm really excited to see this Newcastle team play, personally. I think this will be one of them games where, if you're looking for an Our League game to buy on a weekend from Championship, and Newcastle are playing a team like Fev or, you know, a London or a York, you're going to want to watch it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, actually. That's a pretty good set of signings.
Exciting times.
We won't bother with the outgoings if there's nobody significant.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's no one really significant there that I think is important to speak about. So
cool. With that, let's crack on.
Moving on now to Oldham, who have, I think, again, also I'll say first, they have no significant outgoings either, so this is purely just going to be the players in. So they've brought in Sean Pick from Batley, Liam Kirk from Bradford, Ben Heaton from Hunslet, and Ryan Innes from Widnes. The two from this I would signal out are Liam Kirk from Bradford, Ryan Innes from Widnes, both fairly young.
Note to me for next week, that's not Ian Kirk, who's about 42.
No, it's Liam Kirk from Bradford, who, like I said when we were speaking about him leaving Bradford, will be a loss for Bradford. Solid player at this level, definitely. Makes yards. He's a solid prop forward, really. Ryan Innes, you know, the pace, the strength, that sort of thing. We've seen what he can do for Widnes. Thinking an Oldham team, he'll get more of the ball. He'll play more of a starring role. So overall for Oldham,
I've got nothing to add on this.
Yeah, that's fine. In terms of Oldham, though, they're fighting with a couple of teams in this for survival. And realistically, when you're looking at all the squads, every team's strengthened in that bottom sort of section, I think, which means it's going to be, you couldn't call who's going to be in that the bottom two sort of thing. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this sort of Oldham team can gel and just grind and get them wins. So I think, again, Oldham, some decent signings, can't go wrong. Not much else to say about it, really. So we will move on to the next team, which is the Sheffield Eagles. Again, a team that sort of are sitting, they almost are just below that sort of top group of maybe 6th, 5-6 teams.
I feel like Sheffield and Halifax are quite close together going into the season, but go on, change my mind. Who they brought in?
Yeah, but I agree. I think Halifax as well are in that group where they're just below. In the past few seasons, have been just below your Fevs, your Yorkshire, your Toulouse, your London, that sort of thing. So incomings: Jack Render from Featherstone, solid fullback. Tyler Dickinson from Batley, solid championship level player. In terms of outgoings, Corey Makelim, who was again a solid squad player for them, played a lot. He's gone home back to Oz. And Menzier is being released, who's sort of an experienced player. He looks about 50, experienced player. That I don't know. They'll miss the experience, but I don't know if he added as much on the pitch in the last couple of years. So overall, it probably is
a bit like Sean O'Loughlin, just without as much talent.
Yeah, probably. But in terms of I think it's a plus because they did have a solid squad last year anyway. Sheffield. I just don't think the squad they've now got can push them to that.
It doesn't have the X factor really.
They're definitely going to be safe. They've got the players there to keep them easily mid-table, but I don't know if they'll have much to play for come sort of last few weeks of season in terms of trying to get in them playoff spots, etc.
Okay. Well, any significant outgoings, or is that we've done that now? There is the old bloke and the other one. There we go. That one memorable. Really. Next.
No, mega. So now we'll go on to the Swinton Lions, which again are a similar.
This bloody Glossop's caravans in there. God, I know. This is going to be another one where I might as well just put my mic down and make a cuppa.
So in terms of Swinton, even over the last couple of years, they've really been pushing away from that sort of relegation picture, I guess, and they've really sort of pushed teams like Halifax and Sheffield. So I think they obviously need to progress further, and they can't kind of get complacent, and they could find themselves back down in that sort of relegation fight.
So how have they protected themselves from complacency?
They've brought in some good players, to be fair. So they've brought in Martin Ridyard from Lee, again, experience at this level. Perfect. Liam Forsyth from Lee, who obviously was a Wigan Academy product. Never really made it at Wigan, but they have a million wingers, so that's probably why. But
I don't know, they're nearly all injured, so you don't seem to have to do much other than have two working legs to get a game if you think Wigan Academy and a winger.
Liam Forsyth, obviously from Lee, I've said, so he's sort of like a good player at this level as well. Sam Brooks, really experienced at this level, also from Lee. And then Kobe Green, who's a young lad from Bradford, who hasn't really broken into Bradford first team, but when you see enough there where, like, in a Swinton team where he'll get game time, he could turn out to be an absolute star. You just don't know. So, fair enough. In terms of outgoings, Gavin Benyon to Rochdale, who again is just one of them sort of championship level sort of props, who just sort of seems to have been around forever. Frankie Holton's gone to Fev, Rob Fairclough's gone to Rochdale. So not mega outgoings, just a few sort of like Rob Fairclough's the halfback's gone, but they've brought in Ridyard. So overall, massive positive, I think, from these incomings. I know there's a few Swinton fans who do listen to the pod and watch the pod. They'll definitely be happy with these.
Yeah, sorry, I know nothing about your club, but at least I don't get stuff wrong because I just don't say anything.
But like I say, I'm the guy who watches Championship every week and is into it, whereas you're more Super League based. But yeah, Swinton, you'll be happy. I'm sure Swinton fans are happy with the sort of incoming, especially like Ridyard and that sort of thing. But now we're going to move on to the big team signing wise, and this team is going to be unstoppable. I actually might put money on these going unbeaten next season. It's Toulouse.
Right, I think that is going to be an easy way to lose some money. Excuse the terrible pun.
Yeah, that's good pun. I'll give you that. Right, so incomings, and you know all of these guys, so you'll be happy. Right, Mitch Garbett from Hull KR, top signing. Ben Reynolds, literally a massive blow. Yeah, Ben Reynolds from Lee, who's obviously never really sort of kicked on at sort of Super League level, that sort of thing, but Championship level, solid halfback. Elwar Plessier, who spoke, left London, again, experience in bulk. Joseph Paulo from St Helens, Dominic Peru from St Helens, two massive signings, and Remy Casti from Catalan. That is, I mean, them signings are like, I would reckon pretty much all them players, well, majority of them players would walk in a Super League side.
Well, let's be honest, when you've got players like Peru and Paulo that have literally just won a double with St Helens, are you honestly going to tell me that they wouldn't walk into Wakefield, for example, and get straight into the starting 17?
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, unless Chris Chester smoked something he's found back at ground that night before, then they'd definitely start.
Yeah, exactly, mate. That's what I mean. I think, even Casti as well, the experience there. I think this is a team that could get them up because they already have one of the strongest teams anyway before these signings. And you look at Paolo, like maybe
I think they are favourites to go up, but
yeah,
unbeaten I think is a stretch too far.
Maybe we'll see.
We will indeed.
But in terms of outgoings, again, there's not really much going on. You got Tony Morel gone to Limoux in the French league. Con Mika gone to Villeneuve.
Oh, we've lost a friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod, Con Mika, has gone to Villeneuve again, sort of French league sort of stuff. Patarika Vai has been released again. Not massive losses.
Patarika
But all together, Toulouse, they're probably going to be at top of our leagues next week. We'll have to stay tuned for that next week.
Yeah, it's probably theirs to lose. Yeah. Right, on that note, let's move on because this is getting worse.
Yeah, so next on it is Whitehaven. Again, one of them teams sort of going to be battling the relegation.
I have no idea. You take this one. I don't know. I know where they are, and that's my knowledge of Whitehaven complete.
In terms of incomings, actually, it's interesting because personally, and I'm pretty much sure all of Championship fans won't be aware of these players. So, the first one they will, which is Greg McNally from Lee. Obviously played for Lee, played for Bradford. Solid player, experienced at this level. Solid signing there. But in terms of the other ones, they've brought in 3 lads from Australia, sort of 3. You never know when a team brings in these sort of like Australian sort of imports almost, how they're going to get on, especially at Championship level. They could fire Whitehaven up to mid-table and beyond, or they could sort of flop and that sort of thing. You just don't know. So Nick R. Williams from Newtown, Lachlan Walmsley from South Sydney, Ryan King from Cronulla. Again, these guys haven't played NRL or anything like that, but with these
are we talking like reserve grade Queensland Cup sort of vibes kind of here?
Yeah, that sort of thing where it's like they probably haven't really had the chance to kick on in NRL or that anything like that. But again, with these sort of signings, you just don't know what's going to happen, do you? But if you're a Whitehaven fan, you're excited for it, aren't you? When you're used to watching your classic Championship, League One sort of big prop forwards, that sort of thing. It's not
the sort that look like they've got more their size from having an extra chicken leg on the Sunday roast rather than them spending 20 hours in the gym conditioning. That sort of level of rugby.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit more silky, a bit more fast. So if you're a Whitehaven fan, you're happy. In terms of outgoings, again, not massive. Sam Forrester and Dave Thompson both released. Nothing massive.
They literally sound like mechanics from down the road.
But they probably are, mate, to be fair. So Whitehaven, big thumbs up, and they're another team that I'm excited to watch this year. So
right, how many more have we got?
Two teams left. The first one is Widnes Vikings. So in terms of incomings, they've brought in Matt Cook from Castleford, big signing. Lee Jewett from Hull KR, again, big signings. 2 really experienced forwards there.
I forgot he was still playing.
They've got Steve Tyra from Halifax. There you go. There's you mentioned there. And Paul Clough from Huddersfield, who again is another big forward. So in terms of outgoing, they've brought in sort of 3 really top quality sort of who was in Super League last year prop forwards, and the 2 props they've lost are obviously the Chappell brothers, who've both gone to Newcastle.
I'm not being rude here, but do we really count Hull KR as being in Super League last year with the state of what their squad looked like? They were kind of just in this non-existent league of the South.
I'm not saying any bad words about any team right now. I'm being impartial.
I said they improved a lot, and I've actually got them to beat Hull FC, so they can't be mad at me. So I can just I can say that. That's fine.
That is true. And obviously Ryan Ince has left Widnes as well, which we spoke about earlier when we were on Oldham. So overall, top players coming in. I don't know if Widnes are going to push. I think they're definitely going to be pushing for the playoff spots, 100%. But I don't know if I'd put my money on this team, winning the playoffs or any stretch of the imagination. But you just never know with these teams. It could kick on, it could not.
There's potential there.
They've made the progress there and brought in that bit of experience in the front row.
Hit a bit of form at playoff season, and it's possible, even if it's not the most likely outcome.
Yeah, exactly. So
last but not least, probably the nicest stadium in the Championship, certainly from a pure modern facilities point of view.
Yeah, but in terms of incomings as well, they've brought in a lot of players.
They have.
And it is looking good for York. So
Big Boy Cuthbert's definitely the star recruit for them, given that they've got him modelling the kit on the website.
So yeah, they've brought in Adam Cuthbertson from Leeds. They've brought in 3 from Wakefield, which is Danny Kermond, Ben Jones Bishop and Ryan Atkins. and then 2 from London, Morgan Smith and Kieran Dixon. In terms of, if we're going through Cuthbertson, you know what you're getting from him, top player.
Offloads.
You know, he's been the reason that Leeds have won sort of grand finals and stuff in the past. Like 100%. He's that good on his day.
Should have won the Man of Steel in 2015. Sorry, Crackharder could give you a award back. He didn't deserve it that year, mate.
In terms of the Wakefield guys, again, you know what you're getting from them. They're experienced players, you know. They're probably at the point where they're maybe not up there at Super League sort of level anymore, but they're going to help York in Championship.
They're going to have a new lease of life. I mean, come on, it's first time in years they've gone to a ground that's got running hot water. If that's not enough to inject 20 years worth of youth into your veins, I don't know what is.
And in terms of the London guys they've brought in, you know, Morgan Smith and Dixon were both around when they were in Super League. Both sort of played Championship rugby as well. You know, the experience is out there, especially in Dixon.
Well, they've just stopped being about Southerners, so that should help the case.
Quality signing. In terms of outgoings, the only really notable outgoing is Connor Robinson to Halifax, who's a massive loss in the house. But Morgan Smith coming in, I think he's capable of doing that job, especially with the other players they've got around him and that sort of thing. So overall, massive positive for York. Arguably the second best business I think that's been done in Championship behind Toulouse, but it was always going to be hard to beat Toulouse with the signings they've made.
Yeah,
but York
definitely.
absolutely smashed it.
Well, we've kind of said that's one ground that we want to try and visit, subject to actually having full capacity stuff at a reasonable point in the season. So
yeah, which hopefully
that will happen.
Yeah, based on what's been said in the last couple of days in UK. We have hope for that, and we also have hope for actually getting these podcasts back in person, back recorded properly in the studio.
Yeah, fingers crossed. There is one thing I am confused about. The team I was worried about, they've lost all the players and signed no one. Where's Toronto gone? I had to get that dig in there. I've waited half an hour to get that in there. I was not leaving this podcast without saying it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But yeah, I think that's it, guys, isn't it? So that's all the signings everyone's made.
Yeah. If by some miracle Swinton have signed Sonny Bill Williams by the time this has come out, sorry, can't go about that.
Yeah, let us know who's done the best business and that sort of thing. And like I say, next week is going to be our predictions of the league table, so make sure you stay tuned for that.
Wish me luck. Subscribe and put the bell on for that, because this is going to be eventful, because I have no clue what I'm doing.
But it's going to be interesting, and maybe we'll make a few bets and it'll get Matt more involved in Championship next year, which has got to be an aim of yours next year, to actually watch some more Championship rugby, especially when it's going to be all streamed online and that sort of thing.
Once the grounds open up, yes, I can see me watching more Championship rugby. But yeah, I don't know yet whether I don't think I'll be paying £5 for the pleasure every week.
Yeah, that's true. I do get that.
I'm not even paying. I don't even know if I'm paying £5 to watch my own team's pre-season friendly. I mean, there's a part of me that wants to, but I'm definitely going to get crucified by my own mother if I do that on Mother's Day.
Ah, it's worth it, mate. Get her watching it.
Well, I don't know. You might be in pod on your own from that point onwards, then, because I might not be here to prevent it. But right. On that note, enjoy the last few weeks of my potential life, depending on what I do with our league, and yeah, subscribe. See who Callum replaces me with.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe and all that, like Matt has said. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, leave us 5 stars on Apple.